This was unexpected to her. Never one to back down from controversial subjects, Sunny Hostin once again succeeded in turning an apparently straightforward subject into a racial critique, this time focusing on Caitlin Clark's quick ascent. Sunny often used the term white privilege to suggest that Clark's popularity may be bolstered, and she did so with her trademark offhand delivery. However, the response wasn't quite what she had anticipated. This time, even LeBron James, who is frequently outspoken on social justice issues, intervened not to support her argument, but to disagree. He voiced his support behind Clark, highlighting her revolutionary impact on women's basketball and denouncing the simplistic narrative that attempted to obscure her accomplishments.
I've been a basketball fan since I can remember. I played basketball with my dad in Harlem when I was 5 years old. So I remember loving the game, and the game not necessarily loving women back. Right?
At all.
At all. And the WNBA started in 1996. First games played in 1997. And we're just really now talking about it. And so if Caitlin Clark is the vehicle that will bring this sport that I have loved so much and so long to little 5-year-old girls playing in Harlem, I say yes, bravo. I have no problem with that.
Nothing appeared unusual at first. Just more of the same old stale story. She made yet another broad assertion, this time stating that the game does not reciprocate her love for women. Let's back off though. Since its inception, the NBA has provided all of the support for the WNBA. Furthermore, the league has not yet made a profit in spite of the backing. These are not opinions. They are facts. However, they are inexplicably ignored in favor of a plot that is more dramatic. She also gave the impression that this discussion was just getting started, as if everyone had just learned about women's basketball. The View has been broadcasting for decades longer than some of us have even been alive, but come on, where was the reliable platform if they were this concerned? If the WNBA is that important, why not give it a weekly spotlight? She didn't stop there though. She led the discussion directly back to Caitlin Clark and predictably her race, just when you thought it may return to something approaching fairness.
With that being said, I do think that there is a thing called pretty privilege. There is a thing called white privilege. There is a thing called tall privilege. And we have to acknowledge that. And so the part of it is about race, because if you think about the Brittany Griners of the world, you know, why did she have to go to play in Russia?
Because they wouldn't pay her.
Because they wouldn't pay her.
Because they wouldn't pay, not because she was black, but because they didn't believe in the WNBA.
This is part of my point. So now, you know, Caitlin Clark is bringing this money, these sponsorships, we hope, into the league, and other players will benefit from it. But I do think that she is more relatable to more people because she's white, because she's attractive. And unfortunately, there still is that stigma of against the LGBTQ plus community. 70% of the WNBA is black. A third of the players are in the LGBTQ plus community.
This is what we'll refer to as the view privilege. It's that weird dynamic where shouting over someone is considered winning the conversation and noise somehow takes the place of reason. Beyond the irony though, this raises a legitimate query. Why does Sunny Hostin feel the need to minimize every significant sporting event to a racial or physical commentary? In addition to being inaccurate, her interpretation of Caitlin Clark's success as the result of white privilege is blatantly disrespectful to the athletes she purports to promote. It would be a disservice to Clark's years of commitment, her incredible work ethic, the pressure she has endured, and her consistent success on the court to attribute her rise just to her skin color. It's hardly progressive to discard someone like that. It corrodes. Suppose for a moment that the roles were reversed. What if Colin Cowherd or Skip Bayless blamed LeBron James's professional success on his skin tone? There would be an immediate, violent, and justifiable outcry, because this is the reality. Identity politics may be appropriate in some discussions, but they run into trouble in sports. Performance is truthful. What matters to stats is how you play, not how you look. And the data speaks for itself when it comes to Caitlin Clark. She is not a product of the media. She is not a privileged person. Her brilliance spans generations. Clark is the real deal, as even LeBron James, who is no stranger to social discourse himself, stated in an interview with JJ Redick. No tricks, no shortcuts, only for fun.
I'm rooting for Caitlin because I've been in that seat before. I've walked that road before. I hope she kills. I hope Aaliyah Boston does amazing. I hope they do great. I'm just kind of in this mode right now because I'm getting the same, thing from watching my son, who's a 19-year-old, kind of getting a lot of animosity and hatred towards him when he's just a kid trying to live out his dream. There's a very small number of men and women that actually get to live out their dream of playing a professional sport. And we have grown men and women out here doing whatever they can to try to make sure that does not happen. That is the weirdest thing in the world, but it is what it is, and I'm glad that Caitlin has a great head on her shoulder.
LeBron James is a resilient role model in many respects, if you set politics aside for a moment. Like Caitlin Clark, he was closely watched during his career. Every decision he has taken, from relocating from Cleveland to Miami to his position on social issues, has been scrutinized, dissected, and often exploited. He has come under fire for being overly political, to soft, and to calculated. He has, however, continued to focus on the game, where it belongs. And the result? When talking about the greatest of all time, his legacy will always be brought up since it is so vast and unquestionable. In parallel, Caitlin Clark is dealing with an onslaught of criticism from people who are incapable of simply carrying her gym bag, let alone competing against her on the court. It becomes increasingly clear the louder the critics speak, high-level achievement demands heat, not tranquility. More individuals will also try to undermine you with irrelevant anecdotes as you move up the ranks. Nonetheless, true greatness emerges exactly during such stressful times. Clark is flourishing in the limelight, not simply surviving it. It is uncommon for a rookie to exhibit such poise in the face of ongoing media attention. She demonstrates her belonging every time she takes the court. The mental toughness that distinguishes legends is more important than talent alone. That's exactly what's happening. Instead of recognizing her historical significance, others would prefer to rewrite her story as one of unfair advantage, luxury, or anything other than hard-earned success. The saddest aspect, however, is that the facts contradict Sunny's position. To prove it, I'll let Whoopi show us some of Caitlin's numbers. Because when the data speak, the noise soon fades.
I want to point something out. She is the NCAA's all-time leading scorer of men and women. In February, she broke the women's record. In March, she broke Pistol Pete Maravich's 3,667-point record. She's had more 30-point games than anyone in the past 25 years.
Yeah.
Okay? She holds a single season 3-point record for women. She's the Big Ten's all-time leader in.
And that's only a small portion of her supremacy in the NCAA. Caitlin Clark has already altered the record books and broken expectations in the WNBA. While still in her rookie season, she set franchise marks with the Indiana Fever for the most double-doubles, three-pointers, and games with 10 or more assists in WNBA history. She became the fastest player to reach 100 three-pointers and the fastest to reach 350 points and 150 assists. It isn't hype, that is historic. Her performance solidified her position as a force in the league almost away, earning her a berth on the All-1BA first team and the coveted Rookie of the Year award. However, her influence isn't limited to the scoreboard. It's also evident in the stats off the court. Michael Mulvihill, a Fox executive, claims that Clark's games drew an average of 1.2 million TV viewers, which is almost 3 times the WNBA's typical average of 400,000 people. Fans are actually attending in person, so that increase isn't simply happening on screens. According to AP reporter Tim Reynolds, games with Clark drew crowds of about 16,000, and those without her drew an average of about 8,500. It's not a little bump. A tidal wave of attention is that LeBron James also noticed this. He acknowledged the change Clark is bringing to the sport in addition to defending her skill. He actually made a daring forecast that says a lot about the direction women's basketball is heading, and the game is being redefined by players like Caitlin Clark.
The one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch. More people want to tune in. I saw for the first time that they had a chartered plane for the first time in their league history. They flew private. That should be celebrated, and it's because of Caitlin Clark. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it up. Caitlin Clark is the reason why a lot of great things is going to happen for the WNBA. But for her individually, I don't think she should get involved on nothing that's being said. Just go have fun, enjoy.
That's totally correct, in my opinion. Not only do athletes like Caitlin Clark succeed in their sport, but they also make it better. Once in a generation, a player emerges whose impact, talent, and charm transcend the stat sheet. They change the culture. They attract new admirers. They evoke empathy in a manner that was previously unheard of. In addition to winning titles, Michael Jordan made the NBA a household name. In addition to dominating tennis courts, Serena Williams changed the definition of strength and unabashed excellence in the sport. In addition to winning bouts, Ronda Rousey made the world take women's mixed martial arts seriously. Additionally, Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo's legacies are actively changing the soccer scene in the Middle East and the United States, demonstrating how international superstars can bring previously unheard of respectability and interest wherever they go. There are already indications that Caitlin Clark is headed in the same direction. Attendance, ratings, and the sheer amount of buzz she creates whenever she touches the ball are all indicators of her impact. She's shaping the discourse around the game, not simply playing it. Furthermore, instead of always viewing sports through the prism of race or identity politics, we should concentrate on the greatness being accomplished. This would make sports a much better and more motivating environment. Her tale is one of talent, foresight, and generational genius.